Same boat here. We were expecting this to be a good news development charge that we had addressed those concerns. So if we can, what does it take to, do we have to advertise for 3 weeks again for a public meeting and that process? Can we extend our deadline, which is at the end of the year? What's the process for that?
I don't think there's an exemption. Basically, what happens is your bylaw
Just carries on. Oh, it expired.
It expired. We just couldn't do it.
We already extended it
2 years.
2 years. 2 years ago, we were going to do this. Yeah. There's still a public meeting.
Peter Pullman, I just to Glenn's point, I just think I'll be very careful with the number because if you
Can't hear just
the 90 units you're talking about per year, I'm an accountant, so the math's pretty simple. 90 becomes 45, your development charge is double. So we want growth. You got to be very careful at the end of the day when you're finished. Your assumptions on growth are accurate because if it grows half, you're going to be in real trouble. This gentleman's comment here that $20,000 is $2,000 is going to get more out of whack. So you got to be very careful at the end of the day what number you settle on for growth and decide, because that denominator number is really important when you decide what that growth is going to be, because we want the growth. So you've got to be really careful on what you're doing. Forget the sewer conversation. I'm sick of that. Not quite frankly. You've got to be very careful on the rate on the growth side, because you're going to make a bigger mistake if your 90 units is really only 45.
okay. No. Captain Verde?
Yes, I have a couple of comments. First of all, reiterating some of the comments I've heard in the public, one is that I think that it is absolutely counterproductive for us to be anything but a median charging municipality if we really do seriously, we take economic development seriously. So to see us, I hadn't seen a comparison. I know this is obviously probably skewed now, but to see comparisons against other municipalities, and our proposed rates are significantly higher than the next highest one, is absolutely shocking, and I think we need to bring it right back down to something as a median charging type of development charges. And I also, going back to the population projections, which is a very important point, I did the average for the past 10 years since amalgamation, and it comes out to 69 units per year. And I actually have the county's numbers here, and the county projections on average have a decline. So obviously you've relied more fully on the Dillon's numbers, which have actually been suspect. We've had a lot of challenges. People have questioned them. So in the Statistics Canada, which I have here too, from 2006 to 2011, actually say that we've gone from 11,100 in 2006 to 10,656 in 2007. So the populations are not, the projections going up to 108 in 4 years or 3 years just don't seem to be realistic. And as you said on your slide number 10, that these three are related, whether you have the number you're servicing with your actual development charges and your tax rate. So if one is skewed, one is significantly lower, then either your development charges have to go up or your tax rate has to go up. And we don't want to get ourselves into a position that we have to charge people exorbitant taxes in order to compensate because we've made projections that are absolutely unreasonable. So I think we need to go back to some of these county projections, which have more reliability, the Statistics Canada numbers, and I do not know what Dillon based their numbers on, but from the beginning they've been questioned, and we are going to get ourselves into a lot of problems, and it is a topic of significant public debate right now too. So.
Well, I don't want to be questioning engineers and all that. That's not really our position to do that. But, and even
this is governmental.
The stats Canada numbers were also challenged by Lincoln County in the last. I just think, you know, we have to go back and see if we can find this happy medium with this also. The numbers that we're seeing on our screen definitely with the numbers we talked about at the last
Workshop.
So maybe Gary just missed something in the translation, or just hasn't got the finalized numbers there. But,
that could be, although I would just add that I think you have to be careful when you're looking at population forecasts in the units. We know the population is aging. It's aging all across Southern Ontario. You're not unique there, but because of that aging population, you're seeing your average households coming down. household on average. And so you can still have a situation where you have positive development activity and you're not seeing a significant amount of population growth, which is partly what's going on here, I think, why you're seeing negative numbers. I also would add that while Stats Canada is the only information we have out there on population, we've been struggling in many municipalities in southwestern Ontario, especially when there's a high seasonal component, to really understand it. In some cases, the numbers have been, in my opinion, flat out wrong. And so there's been challenges to understand the differences between 2001 and 6 and 11. My personal opinion is that 2006 may have been more of a problem than 2011. So you actually may not have declined in growth as much as you thought, but there may have been some overstatement in 2006 numbers. Bottom line is, I don't see any reason to doubt that you're going to see development activity in certain parts of your community. Yes, certain areas in the rural community are going to be experiencing low growth, but you are going to see development activity in your municipal service areas, primarily in Grand Bend being one of them, and that development needs to be serviced, and there's a cost to that. So, as the gentleman pointed out behind me, if you're going to identify the need to service development, then you need to appropriately identify what the growth is to service that need. And that's what Dylan's done. I've tried to be as conservative as I can with Dylan's numbers, but still being generally in line with their figures. But if we go off those numbers and go to something else, then we have a significant disconnect between the capital program and the population forecast.
Okay, see a question back here?
Mr. Mayor, you asked if you had to go through the 90-day process again. Why don't you just adjourn this meeting until the Tuesday? Everybody that's here that's interested in it will be notified of it because they're here. And you just continue the meeting on the week from tomorrow.
We're not sure whether they can have those numbers back by the week of tomorrow, but we'll consider that.
You're gonna have to make a decision before the 31st.
I know that.
It's the solution to your problem. Okay? And the other thing, James
Yes.
has identified one of the issues that's a real problem in this area, is our population numbers can change from month to month because you sell a cottage to someone that makes it their home. They are now a permanent population, and you lost to summer population or seasonal. People who have a seasonal home retire and move into it as their permanent residents, or your permanent population rises. It hasn't changed any of the servicing of the municipality, but it has changed the technical numbers that are used to arrive at studies such as this. So it's very difficult for James or Mr. Scanlon to come up with appropriate and very accurate numbers because you're always being skewed a little bit by those changes.
Question over here?
It's Glenn Bailey again. I remember asking a few, maybe years ago, of the treasurer for a number as to how many tax bills got mailed outside of Lambton Shores. And memory fades when you're older. She probably has a better memory than I do. I think it's 1/3 of our tax bills. 1/3 of our tax bills are mailed outside of the community, indicating 1/3 of the residences here do not identify themselves on Statistics Canada as population.
Okay. Question back here?
Yes, my name's Jerry Rupke. I just want to reiterate your comment, and is that when I looked at the voters list in the Ward 3, more than half were non-residents. They lived outside the municipality, and as a result, we're taxpayers, but we're not considered residents of Ward 3.
Okay. So I guess, how do we move this, Janet?
Can I just make a couple clarifications? What we did do for the greenhouses, we did separate and provide new explanations, definitions of them. There has been a change for the processing one. Everything's been removed except the water. Now, the water rate is extremely high. I do want to have Gary look at that. But basically, that's what's driving that charge up. And similarly on the farm large scale, there are services removed from that as well. So it did happen, it's the water number that's driving it up. So I think we do need to clarify that. And as far as the exemptions, they've identified, not the exemptions,